Coming in at number 5 is the 1994 film Maverick, where Foster starred alongside Mel Gibson in this Western comedy. However, critics felt that the film's tone was inconsistent, and the chemistry between the leads was lacking. The film received mixed reviews from critics, with some praising the action sequences, while others found the humor to be forced. At number 4 is the 2011 film Carnage, where Foster starred alongside Kate Winslet, Christoph Waltz, and John C. Reilly in this dark comedy about two couples who get together to discuss a fight between their sons. While the film received some positive reviews from critics, many felt that the film's tone was too dark, and the characters were underdeveloped. The 2002 film Panic Room comes in at number 3, where Foster starred as a recently divorced mother who must defend her daughter from a group of burglars who invade their home. While the film received some positive reviews from critics, many felt that the film's plot was predictable, and the characters were not well developed. The 1998 film Anna and the King comes in at number 2, where Foster starred alongside Chow Yun-fat in this historical drama about the King of Siam and his relationship with a British schoolteacher. While the film received some positive reviews from critics, many felt that the film's pacing was slow, and the characters were not well developed. At number 1 is the 2013 film Elysium, where Foster starred alongside Matt Damon in this science fiction film about a future where the wealthy live in a utopia while the rest of the world lives in poverty. While the film received some positive reviews from critics, many felt that the film's plot was predictable, and the characters were not well developed, with Foster's performance being particularly criticized. Bugsy Malone was an innovative 1976 musical that experimented with child actors playing adult roles. The movie's unique premise featured the actors lip-syncing to adult voices, which critics found quite disconcerting. Unfortunately, this experimental approach failed to resonate with most audiences, making Bugsy Malone a commercial flop. Despite its shortcomings, the film showcased the talents of its young cast and left a mark on movie history as an unusual cinematic experience. Although Jodie Foster is not directly related to the topic of Bugsy Malone, it is worth noting that Jodie Foster did appear in the 1976 film Bugsy Malone, which is a musical gangster comedy film written and directed by Alan Parker. The film features a cast of child actors, including Scott Baio and John Cassisi, and is known for its unique blend of jazz-inspired music and gangster themes. Despite Paul Williams' catchy jazz-inspired soundtrack, the juxtaposition of mature gangster themes and child actors diluted its effectiveness, making it difficult for viewers to understand the film's tone. The film's tone was often confusing, as it tried to balance the lighthearted and comedic aspects of the child actors with the darker themes of gangster violence and crime. This confusion made it challenging for audiences to fully engage with the film, and it received mixed reviews from critics at the time of its release. The film's use of child actors in adult roles added to the confusion, as it was unclear whether the film was intended to be a satire of gangster movies or a genuine attempt at creating a musical comedy. Despite this, the film has developed a cult following over the years, and its unique blend of music and gangster themes continues to fascinate audiences. Jodie Foster's appearance in the film was one of her early roles, and it marked an important milestone in her career as a child actress. However, since the provided summary is about the movie Bugsy Malone, and not the actress Jodie Foster, I will provide a detailed text about Jodie Foster and her involvement in the movie Bugsy Malone. Meanwhile, Jodie Foster's early career was marked by her appearance in the 1976 musical comedy film Bugsy Malone, directed by Alan Parker. Although the film received mixed reviews, with some critics finding its quirky approach confusing, it remains a notable entry in Foster's extensive filmography. The movie's unique blend of slapstick violence, such as cream pies in place of bullets, and dramatic scenes, softened the overall impact of the film. Despite this, Foster's performance as Tallulah, a showgirl and Bugsy's love interest, showcased her versatility as a young actress. As a child star, Foster had already gained recognition for her roles in films like Napoleon and Samantha and Tom Sawyer. Her involvement in Bugsy Malone further solidified her position as a talented young actress in Hollywood. The film's failure to live up to its ambition did not deter Foster's career, as she continued to take on a wide range of roles throughout her childhood and adolescence. Her experience working on Bugsy Malone likely contributed to her growth as an actress, allowing her to develop her skills and adapt to different film genres. The decision to cast Foster in Bugsy Malone was likely influenced by her already established reputation as a talented young actress. her presence in the film added to its appeal, and her performance as Tallulah remains a memorable aspect of the movie. Although Bugsy Malone may not have achieved the success its creators had hoped for, it remains a notable entry in Foster's filmography, showcasing her early talent and versatility as a young actress. Meanwhile, actress Jodie Foster's career was marked by a series of films that struggled to find their footing in terms of tone and narrative coherence. One such example was her appearance in the 1976 musical comedy Bugsy Malone, which featured large, visually impressive dance numbers that ultimately overshadowed the storyline. As a result, the film's inconsistent tone made it difficult for audiences to connect with the narrative on a deeper level. The film's inability to strike a balance between its light-hearted musical elements and its more serious storyline led to a disjointed viewing experience that left many viewers underwhelmed. Similarly, Foster's 1987 film Siesta aimed to be a psychological thriller, but it ended up baffling audiences with its complex, non-linear structure and surreal imagery. The film's use of non-chronological storytelling and dreamlike sequences made it difficult for viewers to follow the narrative, leading to widespread confusion and frustration. Despite its ambitious attempts to create a sense of tension and unease, Siesta ultimately failed to deliver a coherent or engaging viewing experience. The film's failure to connect with audiences can be attributed to its overly complex and convoluted narrative, which prioritized style over substance and left viewers struggling to keep up. As a result, Siesta remains a lesser-known entry in Foster's filmography, and its reputation as a confusing and disjointed thriller has endured long after its initial release. Meanwhile, the film Siesta, despite boasting a strong cast, struggled to captivate audiences due to its abstract storytelling and chaotic direction. The cast, which included talented actors Ellen Barkin, Gabriel Byrne, and Jodie Foster, delivered performances that were overshadowed by the film's confusing narrative and disjointed pacing. As a result, audiences were left perplexed, unable to fully appreciate the actors' efforts. Jodie Foster, in particular, is an actress known for her versatility and range, having appeared in a wide variety of films throughout her career. Despite her impressive body of work, her performance in Siesta was ultimately hindered by the film's abstract storytelling and chaotic direction. The film's failure to engage audiences was not a reflection on Foster's abilities as an actress, but rather a testament to the challenges of working with a complex and disjointed narrative. Ellen Barkin and Gabriel Byrne, both accomplished actors in their own right, also struggled to elevate the film despite their best efforts. The cast performances were often overshadowed by the film's confusing plot twists and lack of clear direction, leaving audiences struggling to follow the story. Despite the cast's collective talent, Siesta ultimately failed to resonate with viewers, leaving a lasting impression of a film that was more confusing than captivating. The film's abstract storytelling and chaotic direction were likely intended to create a sense of tension and unease, but ultimately had the opposite effect. Rather than drawing audiences in, the film's disjointed narrative and pacing pushed viewers away, making it difficult for them to become invested in the story. As a result, the cast performances, including Jodie Foster's, were often lost in the chaos, failing to leave a lasting impression on audiences. In the end, Siesta's failure to engage audiences was a testament to the challenges of working with complex and disjointed narratives. Despite the cast's collective talent, the film's abstract storytelling and chaotic direction ultimately overshadowed their performances, leaving viewers perplexed and unfulfilled. Meanwhile, Jodie Foster's involvement in the film Siesta, directed by Mary Lambert, is notable for its visually stunning Spanish setting and dreamlike cinematography by Brian Loftus. However, despite its captivating scenery, the film's narrative proved to be a major letdown. Critics and audiences alike found the plot to be fragmented and confusing, making it a challenging watch. The film's incoherent storyline was widely panned by critics, who labeled it an exercise in style over substance. This criticism was not unfounded, as the film's focus on aesthetics seemed to overshadow its narrative, resulting in a disjointed viewing experience. As a result, Siesta failed to engage its audience, leaving viewers struggling to make sense of the plot. Despite Jodie Foster's involvement, the film's poor reception was largely due to its inability to balance style with substance, ultimately leading to a disappointing cinematic experience. Meanwhile, the 1993 film Summersby, a romantic historical drama set in post-Civil War America, struggled with the lack of chemistry between its stars, Jodie Foster and Richard Gere, despite its compelling premise. The movie was filmed in Virginia's picturesque landscapes, which provided a visually stunning backdrop for the story. However, the film's narrative and pacing issues hindered its emotional core, with critics noting that its romantic drama and identity mystery failed to come together cohesively. Jodie Foster's character, a mysterious and alluring woman, was at the center of the film's identity mystery, which was meant to be a driving force behind the plot. Unfortunately, the lack of chemistry between Foster and Gere made it difficult for audiences to become invested in their characters' relationship. The film's pacing also suffered, with long stretches of slow-burning tension that failed to build towards a satisfying climax. Despite its flaws, Summersby was notable for its ambitious premise, which explored themes of identity, love, and redemption in the aftermath of the Civil War. The film's historical setting and costumes were also praised for their accuracy and attention to detail. However, these elements were ultimately overshadowed by the film's narrative shortcomings, which prevented it from reaching its full potential. In the end, Summersby was a disappointing film that failed to live up to its promise. Despite the talents of its cast, including Jodie Foster and Richard Gere, the movie's lack of chemistry and pacing issues made it a forgettable entry in the romantic historical drama genre. However, I must point out that the provided summary does not match the subject name, as it appears to be about the movie Summersby, but the subject name is Jodie Foster. Nevertheless, I will create a long, detailed text based on the provided summary, focusing on the movie Summersby, which stars Jodie Foster. Meanwhile, the courtroom scene in Summersby was meant to build tension, but fell flat due to the weak connection between the leads and the film's inconsistent tone. Despite its beautiful cinematography and authentic period settings, Summersby received lukewarm reviews for its inability to sustain the intriguing premise and narrative inconsistencies. The film's failure to deliver a compelling story was largely attributed to the lack of chemistry between the lead actors, including Jodie Foster, who played the role of a woman accused of murder. Notwithstanding the talented cast, the movie's tone was inconsistent, veering wildly from drama to romance, making it difficult for the audience to become fully invested in the story. The film's attempt to recreate the atmosphere of a 19th century courtroom was admirable, but ultimately, it was not enough to save the movie from its overall lackluster performance. The cinematography was indeed beautiful, capturing the grandeur of the period settings, but it was not enough to distract from the narrative shortcomings. Furthermore, the film's inability to sustain the intriguing premise was a major disappointment, as the story had the potential to be a gripping drama. Unfortunately, the narrative inconsistencies and lack of character development made it difficult for the audience to become emotionally invested in the story. The movie's failure to deliver a compelling narrative was a shame, given the talent of the cast and the beauty of the cinematography. Following her critically acclaimed performances in various films, Jodie Foster took on the role of Erica Bain in the 2007 psychological thriller, The Brave One. Directed by Neil Jordan, the film delves into the complexities of trauma and vigilantism, showcasing Foster's remarkable acting skills as she navigates her character's transformation. Erica Bain, a successful radio host, is brutally attacked and left for dead in Central Park. The traumatic event sets off a chain reaction, leading her to purchase a gun and eventually become a vigilante. As she navigates the dark and gritty streets of New York City, Erica's transformation from a victim to a perpetrator raises questions about the morality of her actions. Throughout the film, Foster masterfully portrays Erica's inner turmoil, capturing the emotional depth and complexity of her character. Her performance is both captivating and unsettling, as she brings to life the nuances of a woman driven by a desire for justice and revenge. The Brave One explores the blurred lines between good and evil, raising questions about the nature of violence and the consequences of taking the law into one's own hands. As Erica's actions become increasingly violent, the film challenges the audience to consider the motivations behind her behavior and the impact it has on those around her. Foster's portrayal of Erica Bain is a testament to her exceptional acting abilities, as she brings depth and nuance to a complex and multifaceted character. The Brave One is a thought-provoking film that challenges the audience to confront the harsh realities of violence and trauma, and Foster's performance is a significant contributor to its success. As the film progresses, Erica's transformation becomes more pronounced, and her actions become increasingly erratic. The tension builds, culminating in a dramatic confrontation that raises questions about the true nature of justice and the consequences of Erica's actions. The Brave One is a gripping thriller that showcases Foster's remarkable range as an actress. Her performance is both captivating and unsettling, as she brings to life the complexities of a woman driven by a desire for justice and revenge. The film's exploration of trauma and vigilantism raises important questions about the nature of violence and the consequences of taking the law into one's own hands. While Jodie Foster's performance in The Brave One was praised for its intensity, critics felt that the film's narrative failed to fully explore the psychological depth of its subject matter, resulting in a thriller that lacked focus. This was a recurring theme in many reviews of the film, with several critics noting that Foster's character, Erica Bain, was not fully fleshed out. Despite this, Foster's performance was widely praised, with many critics noting that she brought a level of depth and nuance to the character that was not always present in the script. Foster's portrayal of Erica Bain, a radio host who becomes a vigilante after being brutally attacked, was seen as a highlight of the film. She brought a level of intensity and emotion to the role that was captivating to watch, and her performance was widely praised by critics. However, the film's narrative was seen as lacking, with many critics feeling that it did not fully explore the psychological implications of Erica's actions. The film's failure to fully explore the psychological depth of its subject matter was seen as a major flaw by many critics. Despite Foster's strong performance, the film's narrative was seen as shallow and lacking in depth. This was a disappointment to many critics, who had been expecting a more nuanced and thought-provoking film. Instead, The Brave One was seen as a straightforward thriller that failed to fully engage with its subject matter. Foster's performance in The Brave One was also notable for its physicality. She underwent a significant transformation for the role, losing weight and training extensively to prepare for the film's demanding action sequences. Her hard work paid off, with many critics praising her for her convincing portrayal of a woman driven to violence. Despite the film's flaws, Foster's performance in The Brave One was widely praised. She brought a level of intensity and emotion to the role that was captivating to watch, and her performance was widely praised by critics. However, the film's narrative was seen as lacking, and it failed to fully explore the psychological depth of its subject matter. As a result, The Brave One was seen as a thriller that lacked focus, despite Foster's strong performance. Meanwhile, actress Jodie Foster starred in the 2007 film The Brave One, which was set in the urban landscape of New York City. The city's dark and moody atmosphere added authenticity to the film, but it also presented logistical challenges for the production team, particularly when filming night scenes. The city's crowded streets and limited access to certain areas made it difficult for the crew to capture the scenes they needed, and the constant noise and activity often disrupted filming. Despite these challenges, the film's premise was strong, and Jodie Foster's high-profile status helped to generate interest in the project. However, when The Brave One was released, it received mixed reviews from critics, who praised Foster's performance but criticized the film's uneven pacing and reliance on cliches. The film's box office performance was also disappointing, barely breaking even despite its high production costs. The film's failure to connect with audiences was likely due to its inability to balance its dark and violent themes with a more nuanced and thoughtful exploration of its protagonist's emotional journey. Despite Foster's best efforts, her character's transformation from a timid and vulnerable woman to a confident and empowered one felt rushed and unconvincing, and the film's over-reliance on action and suspense detracted from its more thoughtful moments. The Brave One's failure was a disappointment to Foster and the film's director, Neil Jordan, who had hoped to create a more complex and thought-provoking film. However, despite its flaws, The Brave One remains a notable entry in Foster's filmography, and its exploration of themes such as trauma, grief, and empowerment continues to resonate with audiences today. In the years since The Brave One's release, Foster has continued to act in a wide range of films, from dramas and thrillers to comedies and family films. She has also become increasingly involved in directing, making her debut behind the camera with the 1991 film Little Man Tate. Through her work on and off-screen, Foster has established herself as one of the most talented and versatile actresses of her generation, and her dedication to her craft continues to inspire audiences around the world. Meanwhile, in the 2008 film Nim's Island, Jodie Foster took on the role of Alexandra Rover, a reclusive author who writes adventure novels but has lost touch with the real world. The movie, directed by Jennifer Flackett and Mark Levin, aimed to balance adventure, comedy, and personal growth, but ultimately resulted in a disjointed narrative. As Alexandra Rover, Jodie Foster's character is a successful author who has become so immersed in her fictional world that she has lost sight of reality. She is struggling to come to terms with the loss of her husband, and her writing has become her only solace. The story takes a turn when Alexandra receives a letter from a young girl named Nim, who is living on a remote island with her scientist father. Nim is a huge fan of Alexandra's books and reaches out to her for help. As Alexandra becomes more involved in Nim's life, she is forced to confront her own fears and insecurities. Through her interactions with Nim, Alexandra begins to see the world in a different light and starts to heal from her past wounds. Despite the promising premise, Nim's Island received mixed reviews from critics, who felt that the film's tone was inconsistent and the narrative was disjointed. The movie's attempt to balance adventure, comedy, and personal growth resulted in a film that felt like it was trying to do too much. Jodie Foster's performance as Alexandra Rover was praised, but the film's overall impact was limited by its uneven tone and pacing. As a result, Nim's Island failed to leave a lasting impression on audiences, and it is often overlooked in discussions of Jodie Foster's filmography. Despite this, the movie remains a notable example of Jodie Foster's willingness to take on complex and challenging roles. Her performance as Alexandra Rover showcases her range and versatility as an actress, and it is a testament to her dedication to her craft. Nim's Island, a cinematic adventure set against the backdrop of Australia's breathtaking scenery, captivated audiences with its stunning visuals. The film showcased a young girl named Nim, played by the talented actress Abigail Breslin, who forms an unlikely friendship with a castaway sailor portrayed by Jodie Foster. Together, they embarked on an exciting journey filled with thrilling escapades and heartwarming moments. The enchanting island setting, with its lush green landscapes and pristine beaches, provided a perfect backdrop for the story's unfolding drama. Nim's Island managed to whisk viewers away on a captivating journey, showcasing the power of imagination and the strength of a child's spirit in the face of adversity. However, despite its picturesque locations and compelling premise, the film struggled with uneven pacing and a lack of depth in its character development, ultimately limiting its appeal to both critics and audiences alike. Despite these shortcomings, Nim's Island remains a memorable ode to the unbreakable bond between a girl and her imagination, set against the awe-inspiring backdrop of Australia's scenic wonders. Although the film Nim's Island did not achieve the critical success that was anticipated, the performances of its lead actors were well received by critics. Abigail Breslin's portrayal of Nim was particularly praised for its energy and charm. Breslin's ability to bring a sense of vulnerability and determination to the character of Nim was notable, and her performance was seen as a highlight of the film. Gerard Butler's dual roles in the film also added a significant amount of humor to the story. Butler's portrayal of both Jack Russell, Nim's father, and Alex Rover, the fictional hero of Nim's favorite book series, showcased his range as an actor and added a light-hearted touch to the film. Despite the strong performances of its lead actors, Nim's Island ultimately failed to resonate with critics. The film's storyline, which follows Nim as she tries to protect her island home from a group of tourists, was seen as predictable and lacking in depth. The film's themes of environmentalism and self-discovery were also not fully developed, which may have contributed to its lack of critical success. The film's failure to achieve critical success was likely a disappointment to its cast and crew, who had high hopes for the project. Despite this, the film still has its fans, and the performances of its lead actors are still widely praised. Abigail Breslin's portrayal of Nim, in particular, is often cited as one of the highlights of the film. In the years since its release, Nim's Island has developed a loyal following, and it continues to be enjoyed by audiences around the world. While it may not have achieved the critical success that was anticipated, the film's strong performances and lighthearted storyline have made it a beloved favorite among many viewers. Meanwhile, Jodie Foster's involvement in Nim's Island as the director and co-producer highlights her ability to take on diverse roles in the film industry. Nim's Island, released in 2008, starred Abigail Breslin, Gerard Butler, and Jodie Foster, and was based on the children's novel of the same name by Wendy R. Despite its mixed reception, Nim's Island did manage to capture the hearts of younger audiences with its inspirational message and visually stunning scenes. However, Critics noted that the film tried to be too many things at once, resulting in a diluted impact in each area. Nims Island suffered from pacing issues and inconsistent storytelling, making it difficult for viewers to maintain engagement throughout the movie. The film's box office performance reflected its mixed reception, with some critics praising its visual strengths, while others found it lacking in terms of storytelling and character development. As a result, Nims Island received a range of reviews from critics, with some praising its family-friendly themes and stunning visuals, while others found it to be overly ambitious and lacking in focus. Despite its flaws, Nims Island did manage to appeal to its target audience of younger viewers, who were inspired by the film's message of perseverance and determination. In terms of its visual strengths, Nims Island featured stunning scenery and impressive cinematography, which helped to bring the story to life. The film's use of vibrant colors and detailed sets added to its visual appeal, making it a treat for younger viewers. However, the film's pacing issues and inconsistent storytelling detracted from its overall impact, making it a less engaging viewing experience for some critics. Overall, Nims Island was a film that had its strengths and weaknesses, and while it may not have been a complete success, it did manage to capture the hearts of younger audiences with its inspirational message and visually stunning scenes. As a director and co-producer, Jodie Foster's involvement in the film highlights her ability to take on diverse roles in the film industry. Considering Jodie Foster's extensive filmography, it is interesting to note that even the most talented actors can have their share of less than stellar performances. The films mentioned earlier, such as Maverick, Carnage, Panic Room, Anna, and The King, and Elysium, showcase Foster's willingness to take on diverse roles, but ultimately, they fell short of expectations. While some critics praised certain aspects of these films, such as the action sequences in Maverick or the performances of the ensemble cast in Carnage, the overall consensus was that they lacked a certain spark. In the case of Panic Room and Elysium, the predictable plots and underdeveloped characters detracted from the viewing experience. Similarly, Anna and The King suffered from slow pacing and a lack of character development. It is worth noting that even the most accomplished actors, like Jodie Foster, can have their share of missteps, and it is how they learn and grow from these experiences that truly matters. By examining these films, we can gain a deeper understanding of Foster's career trajectory and the factors that contribute to a film's success or failure. Ultimately, these films serve as a reminder that even the most talented actors are not immune to criticism, and it is how they respond to it that truly defines their